Coming up, tracking Hurricane Milton and the impending landfall. The preparations now as tornadoes lead the path of the storm. And crime in our community, what the data shows, and the message from police and city leaders as they work to keep people safe.
And Milton's landfall is now imminent. I'm tracking the timing and the impacts of this Category 3 hurricane, plus our local 10-day forecast coming up in just a bit. Kaylee?
Welcome into WTOL 11 News on Plus. I'm Kaylee Maritet. Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday night. Right now, Hurricane Milton is hours away from making landfall in Florida. Parts of the state are already dealing with tornadoes ahead of the storm. Millions of people are bracing for impact, and parts of the Gulf Coast could see a storm surge up to 12 feet. Officials are warning everyone this is a life or death situation.
The outer bands of Hurricane Milton brought heavy winds, rain, and tornadoes to Florida's Gulf Coast Wednesday ahead of landfall.
It's looking like the storm of the century.
President Biden and Vice President Harris were briefed on the storm, expected to deliver life-threatening storm surge to coastal communities.
The hazards are increasing. Depending where you are, it may not be safe, certainly to get on the interstate at this point.
With time running out.
We brought blankets, snacks, toiletries.
About 1,000 people turned up at this shelter in West Bradenton, carrying what supplies they could.
Everybody's worried about the same thing, you know, do you have a home to come back to?
Mass evacuations clogged state highways, with most gas stations in the Tampa area running dry.
I've been here for 38 years and never had one that forced us to do this.
We're already seeing the wind picking up, with landfall still hours away. At this point, downtown Tampa looks like a ghost town, with so many people heeding those evacuation orders and moving to safety. But some are choosing to stay put, including this Tampa restaurant owner whose wife and 3 children evacuated.
I just felt compelled to not leave. I wanted to protect our home.
Milton comes just 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene ravaged some of the same areas, still littered with storm debris. State officials say crews managed to remove about half before time ran out and are prepared to respond to this historic storm. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Tampa.
Well, let's check in with meteorologist John Birchfield. John, Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers is down safe in Tampa right now, helping out our sister station there. What are you tracking when it comes to Milton?
Yeah, some very significant impacts over the next couple of hours and next couple of days, really, Kaylee. We are tracking a strong Category 3 hurricane that is now just hours from landfall. The latest data shows 120 mile-per-hour wind speeds. The worst of the wind is still offshore right now, although I have seen reports up to 75 miles per hour occurring in West Florida. There is the eye of the storm southwest of Sarasota. Some of those outer bands on the periphery of the eye bring the gustiest winds with a hurricane. Based on the latest track, the eye is currently about 36 miles to the southwest of Sarasota and Tampa, and it's really the outer wall of that eye that is going to pose the biggest impact as far as kicking up those winds. The winds have really started to ramp up in West Florida. Some of the latest reports between about 6:30 to 7 p.m. showing Tampa at 56, Naples at 55, Fort Myers at 51, and you can expect those numbers to go way up throughout the course of the evening. Additionally, Kaylee mentioned the severe weather threat. There is an enhanced risk for severe weather, including numerous tornadoes which have already occurred today. Typically, these tornadoes happen south and east of the center of low pressure due to all of the rotation that hurricane causes, but most of those tornadoes have actually been on the eastern side of the state. Hurricane warnings remain in effect, and when landfall occurs, it is likely to be a Category 3, which is considered to be a major hurricane. Overall, Milton has tracked all the way from the southwestern Gulf, and it's made a voyage of about 800 miles. After landfall, it's expected to continue to the east as an area of low pressure. Some model data shows that landfall as early as about 8 o'clock p.m. with those outer bands between Tampa and Sarasota bringing flash flooding as well as a storm surge threat. And the northeastern part of the state is also going to see impacts, including Daytona Beach and Orlando. I'll have the latest on your local forecast also coming up in just a bit. Kaylee.
All right, thanks, John. With much of Florida under evacuation orders, millions of people are taking to the highways. But many highways in Florida are toll roads. So does that mean that people have to pay to evacuate? Let's verify.
Evacuations are underway in Florida as millions try to flee before Hurricane Milton makes landfall. But some posts on social media claim that on some of the key evacuation routes, tolls are being charged. And on some of these routes, mapping apps warned users that they would face tolls. So, is that true? Are tolls being charged on evacuation routes? Let's verify. Our sources: the Florida Department of Transportation and Florida Executive Order 24214. The answer is no. Tolls are not being charged on Florida evacuation routes. On Sunday, Governor Ron DeSantis signed an executive order giving the state Secretary of Transportation the authority to waive tolls. The next day, he used that authority, suspending tolls along evacuation routes until next Monday. The state released this map showing which routes are toll-free. And you can see the highway suggested by Google Maps, State Road 589, is included on that list. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Well, you can help the victims of the recent hurricanes. WTOL 11 has teamed up with the American Red Cross to collect monetary donations to support recovery efforts. Just text the word HELP to 419-248-1100. That number is on your screen. We'll send you information on how to donate. An update now on the search for a missing girl in Fulton County. 17-year-old Yami Cortez Riviera is now safe at home. Police say she got off the school bus yesterday afternoon, but never came home. Authorities learned about her disappearance around 6 o'clock last night. Ohio State Highway Patrol troopers joined in on the search. They brought out an aircraft and knocked on doors. Police say someone spotted the missing teen with minor injuries around 10:30 this morning.
Initial reports stated that she was in the woods sleeping, and after further talking to her a little furthermore, she said that she may have got hit over the head with something. So that piqued our interest right there.
So are we thinking this is an active crime scene?
We are actively investigating this at this time.
Police say they're not sure whether anyone else was involved, and we're told Riviera isn't saying anything else right now. There have been a string of political leaders stepping down in the village of Cary. The mayor and village administrator both recently resigned. The former mayor claims at least 2 council members created a hostile work environment. One of those councilmen tells WTOL 11 the accusations stem from him asking too many questions and attempts for transparency. Homicide incidents in the city of Toledo are currently down compared to this time last year. That's according to the Toledo Police Department. Third quarter crime statistics were released today from TPD. Data shows a drop in most of the incidents, including a 16% drop in homicides from 2023. However, there has been an increase in burglaries.
I'm concerned that it's gone up too, but when you look at 2011, and that was the baseline when we started our intelligence-led policing, we had 8,366 burglaries in the city of Toledo.
Toledo Mayor Wade Kapsakavage says the next update on crime stats will be early January. Mailbox thieves are at it again in Sylvania Township. According to police reports, 3 people reported depositing checks into the blue USPS boxes at the post office on West Bancroft Street. Their checks were stolen, washed, and made out to other people. One of the amount is $40,000. 11 Investigates reported several similar cases last year of checks stolen from the same boxes. WTOL 11 reached out to the police and United States Postal Service with questions, but have not heard back from either. Election Day is just 27 days away, and voters are showing their support with signs out in their yards. And if you've been on social media lately, you've probably seen reports of those signs being stolen or damaged. Sylvania police say it's something that comes up each year, but officials believe it's getting worse.
We follow up just like any other theft. If we can get Ring doorbell camera footage of the theft, or from neighbors, if they have surveillance cameras, we'll be glad to take that, and we'll be prosecuting people if we can establish who took the signs.
Sylvania police officials say they've received multiple reports of signs stolen. Anyone caught doing so will face a misdemeanor charge, and if your sign is stolen, you can call police. Property values are going up in Lucas County, and you have 2 more days to make an appeal and challenge your rate. The Lucas County Auditor's Office is hosting more property value review sessions. Today, you can have your questions answered at the Holy Trinity Greek Community Hall from 9 a.m. from this morning until 7 o'clock tonight. If you can't make it today, there will also be sessions tomorrow and Friday. For more information on this story, head to WTOL.com. Well, fans of Sherlock Holmes are in for a treat as restoration experts have pieced together a 100-year-old silent mystery. It's the latest work of its kind to be digitally transformed.
Kirsty Shanks has had her hands on loads of classic films over the years from the stacks of archives at the British Film Institute. But inspecting the latest reel has taken some true detective work.
Sherlock has been the most challenging restoration I've worked on, mainly because of the scale.
She's part of a conservation team reviving Sherlock Holmes, restoring a century-old silent film series following the adventures of the famous fictional detective.
And they're the last silent Sherlock-related works to be restored. All of the other surviving ones have already been done.
Experts are transforming 20 hours of footage with Sherlockian methods, given its age.
A lot of films over the years have decomposed into powdery, sticky, solid messes. And despite all the damage, it is in pretty good condition.
You know, most of what restoration is...
Ben Thompson is in charge of image quality.
So this is the section just before Waterloo Station.
Digitally erasing marks from decades of wear and tear and using software to match the original filmmaker's use of color.
I probably spent 3 days on it. One shot. 10 seconds.
A meticulous task that proves there's nothing elementary about bringing Sherlock Holmes back to life. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
The restored film series is being called Silent Sherlock, 3 classic cases. It'll be screened at the London Film Festival next week. John?
Well, Kaylee, we're tracking the imminent landfall of Milton, plus your local weather forecast here at home. That landfall expected to occur late this evening or early tonight as a Category 3 storm. Here in Ohio and Michigan, tomorrow's going to bring sunny and nice weather conditions. And into the weekend, showers and a gustier breeze will develop Sunday as a cold front sweeps on through. The latest data on Milton still shows a major Category 3 hurricane with winds gusting up to 150 and sustained at 120. Now, the worst of the winds are still over the water right now, although some of the wind gusts are starting to crank up in western Florida. Here's the latest radar imagery that is showing you the eye of that storm, now less than 50 miles away from landfall, and that landfall could very well happen late this evening. It is expected to be a Cat 3 landfall, and it's still going to maintain hurricane status as it pushes towards northeastern Florida, meaning it could be a Cat 1 by the time it arrives in the vicinity of Orlando. The eye of that storm not quite as well defined as it was 24 hours ago, but a Category 3 is still considered a major hurricane that'll pose some significant impacts. In addition, we're tracking severe weather, and a number of tornado reports have already occurred as a result of the rotation from that area of low pressure. Many folks have wondered what exactly constitutes landfall. Landfall occurs the minute the center of low pressure or the middle of the eye intersects the coastline or the shores. Here's the hour-by-hour snapshot. Some computer model data does show that landfall happening as early as about 8 to 10 o'clock p.m. this evening. After landfall, it is going to weaken, but still pose some significant and really long-lasting impacts that'll forever change many lives in Florida. Here at home, a beautiful day tomorrow, mainly sunny with temperatures that'll be in the mid-60s, and it is going to be another brisk morning, low 40s in the morning, heading up into the afternoon. That'll bring a milder and sunny feel. The weekend forecast, likely dry for those Saturday plans out of the pumpkin patch or the apple orchard. Showers are going to be likely Sunday for the Apple Butter Fest in Grand Rapids, and it is going to be windy as well in the wake of the cold front moving on through. That'll kick up the wind. We could be talking westerly winds that may be gusting up to 30 miles per hour here at home in Ohio and Michigan. Sunshine is expected to continue for the next several days. I do want to also highlight a Friday that will feature a nice warm up to